Hi guys, welcome to another video. And if any of y'all are new here and don't know about me yet, I make videos for healthcare professionals who plan to come into the UK either on a study route or on a work route. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, now's your time. But if you haven't already followed me on Instagram, my handle is physiotherapy in UK, and do consider following me there because I put out a lot of useful information on a daily basis. But diving right into today's content, it's more about understanding what is the tax system in the UK. Now, whether you are a student who's planning to potentially work in the UK, or if you are somebody who's doing their HCPC application or NMC registration and would like to work in the UK as a healthcare professional, you need to know that the taxes in the UK are massive and it's going to take a big chunk out of your salary. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because many of y'all out there are planning to come from India to the UK, but you need to understand that in the UK, even though the salaries might look higher, there are going to be several deductions from your total income. And you need to remember that the savings that you make is also going to start reducing based on what is that you are earning in the NHS or even privately. So if you want to know more about it, stick around to this video and watch it all the way to the end. Alright, so coming down to the most important thing that you need to know is this sort of tax breakdown that I will be explaining in today's video is mainly for salaried employees. So that means if you are working under a particular company or under a particular startup even, you come under that company and you are a salaried employee, that means you will be paid on a weekly basis or a monthly basis even. This also applies to people who are considering to work in the NHS. Now, if you are based in a separate company, say for example you are self-employed or you have your own company once you come to the UK, this does not apply for you. So anybody coming on the global talent visa or a startup or a business visa, this video does not apply for you. But all of you guys out there who are sort of going to work under a particular company, watch this video and learn what is it that you need to be aware about. So firstly, let's come down to the most important difference of what is gross pay and what is net pay. So gross pay refers to the total salary that you have at the end of the job, and this is without any deductions including your NI, your income tax or your pension. Now again, you would say, Nikita, what is the gross pay? So I would say if you look at this particular job, which is a band 6 level job, the gross pay for this job is 33,000 some pounds. Now, this is exactly what that employer is willing to pay you as an employee. But this is without the deductions of any sort of kind. And this is the amount that you will be sort of recommended, or this is the amount that they will usually have on your certificate of sponsorship or when they are sort of talking to you about the visa or what they are planning to offer you. So obviously that was gross pay. Now coming down to what is net pay. So net pay is the amount that is what you get in hand. Now this obviously includes several deductions, including the NI deduction, the income tax deduction and the NHS pension deduction if you work in the NHS. Now, that being said, this is the amount that you will actually get in your bank account on a monthly basis. So remember, this is a sort of major difference between gross and net pay. Now, as you can see on your screen, this is what a typical payslip looks like if you are working in the NHS. Now, as you can go and see on the deductions column, you have three major deductions, which is your national insurance, your income tax, and obviously your NHS pensions. So these three deductions I will be covering in today's video in detail so that you know what is going to be your total income that you take home every month. So before we go into more details about what is the tax and how much you are paying, let's just understand who is a tax authority in the UK. So usually in the UK, there is a body known as the HMRC. Now the HMRC stands for Her Majesty Revenue and Customs. This is the government body that's obviously responsible for collecting tax from all over the UK. So it doesn't matter wherever you live, whether it's London, Birmingham or Manchester, you are allowed and you have to pay taxes to the HMRC. So obviously the HMRC is the sort of government body that is present in the UK, and all of the taxes that you pay into it are going towards welfare, healthcare, state pensions and so on and so forth, as you can see on your screen right now. Now that that's sorted, let's just understand how much of income tax and NI you should be paying as a salaried employee. So you need to understand that the sort of income tax and the NI contributions that are deducted from your monthly salary will go away based on the salary that you are earning in the UK. So let's deep dive into the first major deduction, which is your income tax. Now, you need to understand that the income tax deduction happens based on certain rates and bands that are applicable to all of the people residing in the UK. So based on your income tax, what you need to understand is if you've started working in the UK, you have a certain amount of money on which you do not need to pay any tax. Now, this money is known as your personal allowance limit. Obviously, this is the money where you do not need to pay any tax on. So, this amount of money is tax free. So the current personal allowance threshold is nearly £12,570. And as you can see on the table right here that's highlighted, this is the amount of money on which you do not need to pay tax. Now you would say, Nikita, what if I earn anything more than £12,500? And the answer to it is simple. Your employer has to directly deduct this tax at source. That means when you are paid every month. So if you haven't done anything already, or if you are right now coming into the UK, you do not need to do anything about this. You do not need to be stressed. The employer will directly deduct this amount of money directly from your total income. So the amount that you will get is obviously the income that is left after you've paid the income tax. So let's just see what are the tax brackets for UK. As you can see on your screen, the basic rate of income after the 12,570 is 20%. So if you earn anywhere between 12,570 to 50,270, you will be taxed 20% on that income. Now, for some of you who might be on the higher bands, or if you have spouses or dependents who are earning more than 50,271, they will be taxed around 40%, as you can see over here. And for anybody who is earning more than £150,000, they will be taxed at the rate of 45%. Now, obviously, you need to understand that this sort of system is very clear. So just take, for example, somebody who's earning a salary of, say, £55,000. So the first £12,570 is not going to be taxed. The amount between 12,570 to the 50,000 will then be taxed at a 20% level. And the last 2,000 that the person makes in that year will be taxed at a 40% level. So do not be under the assumption that if you are earning more than 50,000, you will be taxed on your overall income at 40%. Now, coming down to the second deduction that you will be paying, and this is known as national insurance. So national insurance stands for the tax that you are paying to build your access to certain allowances within the UK. Now, these allowances could look like anything, including your entitlement to the NHS, your disability allowance, your maternity or paternity pay, your sickness pay, your unemployment pay, or even disability allowances in some instances. So you need to understand that you are actually putting in money in a pot so that you might someday access this money if you have been affected in any way by unemployment, disability, or you reach a state pensionable age in the UK. So you need to remember that unlike the income tax, the national insurance, it's not an annual tax. So it is not charged on a yearly basis. It is charged based on the agreement that the HMRC has with your employer. So it could be on a weekly basis, monthly basis, or an annual basis, or even every fortnight, which is every second week basis. So you would say, Nikita, wait, what does this mean? So if I earn more in 1 month, does that mean I'm going to pay more national insurance? And the answer is yes. But if you earn less in one particular month, you cannot claim the extra national insurance in another month, because obviously that national insurance would have been taken for the previous month and you cannot claim it back in the next month, even if you earn a lower pay or a lower salary in the next month. This is particularly important, especially for those of you out there who are considering to do overtime. Because if you consider to do overtime or weekend shifts where you know your pay is going to be higher, you need to remember that the national insurance that you're paying will also be equally high. Now, another key thing to remember about the national insurance is, as of right now, you start paying national insurance only if you earn more than £184 a week. And the interest rate, or the rate at which you pay your national insurance, depends on how much it is you are earning on a weekly basis. So like I said, if you earn less than £184 a week, you will be paying £0 in national insurance. But if you earn anything between £184 to £967, you will be paying the national insurance rate of nearly 12%. And anything more than £967, you will be paying an additional rate of 2%. All right, so let's break this down not in terms of weekly basis but in terms of annual pay. So if you are earning up to £9,000, then you will be paying zero national insurance. Now, if you earn anywhere between 9,500 to £50,000, you will be paying the rate of 12%. And if you're earning more than that £50,000, then you have to pay an additional rate of 2% on it. So again, going back to our example of saying maybe you earn £53,000 a year. So you will not be charged national insurance on the first £9,500. For anything between the 9,500 to the 50,000, you will be charged the rate of 12%. And anything over the 50,000, that is the last 3,000, you will be charged the rate of 2%. Now, obviously, if you work in the NHS, there is something known as NHS pensions. Now, in the NHS pensions, I don't want to go into a lot of detail of it. And if any of y'all would like a video on it, please let me know in the comment section below and I will help you with it by making another video. But you just need to understand that right now, each employee needs to pay about 10% of their income into their NHS pensions. This was earlier 9.3%, but over the course of the last year, it has been increased and might potentially go up. But again, if you do not want to take a part in the NHS pensions, considering that you might not stay in the UK that long, I would recommend you don't need to sort of go ahead with the NHS pensions. You can actually just fill up a form, take it to your HR and submit it, and they will stop making deductions on your NHS pensions. But if you are somebody who considers living in the UK in the long term and retiring over here, then the NHS pensions is definitely something you need to consider. And again, like I said, if you want a video on this, guys, please let me know in the comment section below and I will help you out by creating another video. Alright, another sort of key point before we wrap up this video is all of the explanation that I have given you today only applies to the UK. So if you reside in Scotland, there are slightly different rules that might not be applicable to you if you are living in Scotland. So please do be mindful about it, especially if you are considering to work in the NHS in Scotland. So yes, that's a wrap on today's video. But again, like I said, if any of y'all want to know anything more about taxes, leave those questions down in the comments below and I will try to get back to them in the form of another video just to make things more clear. Because I do appreciate the fact that obviously as a healthcare professional, you are concerned so that you will be able to save more amounts of money for your family when they come to live in the UK. But that's it for today's video, guys. Take care. Bye.